A little bit about the latest track of Irma, and boy, I've been watching you the last few hours. It is a changing, moving dynamic.
It really is, and this storm actually, even though it is interacting with land, it is getting stronger. That's just, it's crazy, but that's what's happening. It is interacting with the Keys of Cuba, and we're now looking at a Category 5 hurricane that is now tracking towards the west, and the whole track has shifted across the board. All of the forecast models beginning to shift as well, and this is something that I've talked about for a couple of days, and I want everybody to keep it in the back of their mind that the question of this becoming a Gulf storm is not out of the question. As a matter of fact, as we get later into the forecast time frame, the more concerned I become that this may not necessarily hit the peninsula, but maybe stay just off of the coast, and that puts us in a whole different dynamic as far as how this storm will affect us here in Alabama. And we're looking at winds at 160 miles per hour sustained, Category 5, gusts up to nearly 200. I assure you, what's happening on the Keys right now is violent. It is just a bad situation right now. And look at all the forecast models now starting to bring this thing out into the Gulf of Mexico. You go with the consensus, the best channel of where all these are lining up, but these models continue to track towards the west every 12 hours or so, and that's what concerns me. Some models have brought it right through the Gulf, and that would put it into a stronger category by the time it hits the coastline, if it were to hit the Florida Panhandle or our coast. Either way, this is what happens. It stalls on Wednesday, and then now we're dealing with an area of low pressure, which is going to make it much cooler and showery. We're talking a lot of rain and a lot of wind as well. Here is this storm's location right now. Here's the National Hurricane Center's forecast track. You'll see as it makes its landfall north of Fort Myers, this would be Sunday night. Winds at about 130 miles per hour. And again, that's still nothing to sneeze at. This is a very potent storm. We'll have that energy to work with. Monday, this is what we're looking at. Just actually south of Macon down towards Valdosta, this storm will still have winds just below hurricane strength. Then it moves into Alabama as a tropical storm. That's brand new. This is what I was talking about. We've got to watch it. We've got to make sure that everybody's at least in the back of your mind considering if this storm does make it into the Gulf, how it's going to affect us here locally. And then it stalls and becomes a tropical depression and then extratropical, which means it loses its characteristics of a tropical storm. Temperatures are into the 60s right now. There's no rain here, but showers, storms, still a few around the Gulf Coast and mainly across the Florida Peninsula. But this is where all the action is. Look at these feeder bands. We're starting to really pick them up now on the radar from Irma, and that is the northern edge. As we look at the forecast data through the rest of tonight and tomorrow, it's gorgeous. I wish we didn't have to deal with this storm because this weather is fantastic. But then here come the high clouds. As Irma starts to get closer, we'll start to see those clouds building in. This is Sunday evening, and then after that, we'll see where the track goes. But once we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, this is the new forecast model data that shows where the rain will be. Heaviest will be east of I-65. Here's the good news. We'll be on the west side of that low pressure as it stands right now. That's where the air is sinking. No severe threat, but if you're in Georgia, it's a totally different story. So enjoy tomorrow. Lots of sunshine, dry, 82, winds out of the northeast, and enjoy the rest of the weekend for that matter. A few showers late Monday, but then Monday night into Tuesday, that's when things really start to change. We'll certainly be watching this as a fluid forecast. There will be adjustments as we go through the weekend. Nate and Sarah, and as well as Ashley and I, we will be watching it very carefully. I expect that we will see some changes for a little more rain and wind here locally, but we'll keep you posted. Lee?